Good evening. All right, give it a few seconds. I got my mom texting me right now. Hopefully she doesn't call. Good evening, good evening. Happy May. I know some of you are excited about getting your 12 new vacation days. Sick days. Basically, this is for the e-board report. If you're not aware, my name is Kimberly McLaurin, also known as Nuke. Now everyone wants to text me right now. You have to wait. I'm going to keep this as short as possible. Good evening. Good evening, Joseph. So Kimberly McLaurin, executive board member, shop steward, progressive action member. For those of you who don't know, the executive board is the governing body for our union. It's supposed to represent the members. We do things like vote on contracts, we just do a lot of voting. Cases, like for instance, if you have something going on and you want to bring up someone on charges, it will go before the e-board. We have a number of functions. Just unfortunate that we are not functioning as designed. Like we are pretty much, and when I say we, I just mean the executive board. They pretty much just vote with the president. So that's another story. So we're trying to actually turn that around and make it more about the members. It's based on the amount of people in each department. So for instance, RTO, we have 8 executive board members. Is 4 conductor tower, 4 train operator, and it's like 1 per 1,000 or somewhere around that. And it goes the same for each department. Let me know if you guys can hear me. That's another thing. Let me know if you guys can hear me. So I'm just going to get to it. So we had an e-board meeting on Thursday, April 29th at 9 o'clock in the morning. The meeting starts off, we found out that the Liberty contract was ratified. If you're not aware, Local 100 represents a number of small bus lines, big bus, a number of private bus lines all over. It's not just here in New York either. The tour buses that you see, we also represent the horse and carriage that you see down at Central Park. So it's not just subway and buses. There's some other, subway and the regular city buses. There's some private bus lines, school buses as well, if you weren't aware. Thanks, Joseph. So they just informed us that the contract was ratified. We covered it in the last month's meeting. They actually got pretty good, decent stuff. Their contract was so good that I think that we should actually model some of the things that they have in their contract with our next contract negotiation. So we should actually look into that. They announced that the F line is at full service. That's for the RTO people. And as of next pick, they're looking to see the C line also at full service. So that's good news. If you weren't aware, I had announced it in a previous video that they mean the administration of TWU Local 100 are working on a memorial. They have been working on it for a few months now. It's supposed to be, I guess, for not only just the people who died from COVID, but also the people who died during 9/11, which is long overdue. But so they're working on that. And shout out to the Retiree Association for funding that, because that's who's actually funding that. I had asked a question because I don't know if you guys are aware. Right now, it's, like this is an election year for many different positions. You have the borough presidents that are up, controller, mayor, city council. So as a union, we're supposed to, well, not supposed to. I mean, we offer endorsements to different candidates. And I was quite alarmed that our union chose to endorse Corey Johnson. So I'm not going to put my personal feeling in it. Maybe a little bit. I'm going to do it. They endorsed Corey Johnson for controller, and which concerned me because I was trying to figure out what exactly were his qualifications, because when I looked him up, it seems like, wait, first of all, I have to explain, a controller, they pretty much are like the main accountants for the city or whatever. So they also handle our pensions. So you would think this person would be, have a background in finance or something like that, or have experience in balancing large budgets. Not saying he hasn't, because he's been on city council. He was a city council member, but there were and are many more qualified candidates. And I was quite confused as to why we backed Corey Johnson, because when I looked him up, the most notable thing that he did was get people to stop chewing tobacco in baseball stadiums. And then he went after people who like to wear fur. But that was, a kibosh was put on that due to, I guess, a conflict with the Hasidic Jews. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I don't want to offend anybody. But the Hasidic Jewish community had an issue with that, because I don't know if anyone's aware, their hats are made out of fur. So that kind of died off or whatever. And also it was like the rapper Safari and some reverend or whatever, they had an issue with that because they said that was like he was intruding with, things that were, culturally motivated, like, wearing a fur is status. Well, that's what their argument was, status in the black community, which it is. But that was the only thing I could really find on him. So I had asked President Utano what was the reason for him choosing Corey Johnson, when I don't know if you guys are aware, but Progressive Action, we made our own endorsements. We endorsed Senator Kevin Parker for controller. Why? Because we like to support who supports us. And he sponsored our Tier 6 bill. He sponsored our assault bill. So why wouldn't you choose someone who was actually there, not just during election time, but when we needed them? So I asked President Utano what was the reasoning. Because as per bylaw, they're supposed to bring those type of, candidates, or that the endorsement is supposed to come before the E-board to be voted on. But for some reason, the controller, which covers the city, did not come to us. Now, I fully understand them not bringing all of the city council people, because that's extremely, that's local. So going through that, I understand not bringing hundreds and hundreds of people down there before the E-board, but something that covers us, that blankets the city, we should be deciding on. He told me that because it was done in the past, or that's how it was done in the past, that's how he did it. So I'm not comfortable with that. That answer that's not a good answer, because if according to bylaws you're supposed to bring it before the E-board, you should bring it before the E-board. Whether or not they're going to vote your way, you're still supposed to follow the bylaws. So he said that he being Tony Utano, and the PAC department, the Political Action Committee, I think it's committee, department, made the decision as to backing Corey Johnson. And he also said because the other unions are backing him, which I did not like. So I had to ask him again, well, do we always follow the trends of the other unions? I could have sworn we were supposed to be like the leaders. We were supposed to be in the forefront, setting the trends, not following the trends. So, I mean, I'll leave that up to you guys to decide. Just because the union endorses these people doesn't mean that you have to vote that way. Hines brought up, that's one of the reps from RTO department, he's conductor Flagger. He brought up the fact that they just passed the hate crime bill against the Asian community, right? And he said, well, he wants to have a hate crime bill enacted for transit workers. I don't see why not, because that's just like, we're state workers. Like, certain people intentionally attack us because of the uniform. So I don't see why that wouldn't be an issue. And we just need a lot of things done. Like, we're not being protected down here. The union is aware. They don't really, in my opinion, they don't take the action that they should take. And the company is well aware that we're being attacked. Yet they complain about not having money, but you rather pay people to stay home after they're assaulted. But God forbid someone actually dies again. But so that was brought up during the e-board meeting. The financials, if you watched any of my other videos, if I'm not getting it in my hand, I'm not voting yes to accept that, because I don't understand why I can't have a copy of the financials in my hand where I can actually see it. It's not even itemized, but that's another issue. There were some appointments for the Liberty Lines. Jose Caraballo, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, resigned and was replaced by, I think it's Denise Ortiz. D. Ortiz. Let's just say D. Ortiz. I don't know who it is. I'm sure you Liberty Line people will know who that is. As far as RTO is concerned, Broussard, as you know, he retired. For those of you who do know, retired, and Dee Dee Brinson took his spot as, what was he, vice, because he wasn't really there, vice chair, B division. But anyway, congratulations, Dee Dee. Oh, let me see what else we got going on. Oh, so normally the meetings only last about an hour to 2 hours, maybe tops. This one was all day. The reason why it was all day is because we actually got to, I guess, interview the top mayoral candidates. So they all came in. So we had Garcia, let me get the full names. I'm not going to just say. So we had Catherine Garcia, Scott Stringer came down, Diane Morales, Andrew Yang, Maya Wiley, Ray McGuire, and then we had Eric Adams. They were all very interesting, some more interesting than others. I have my personal opinion on who I would vote for, but you guys, your union, our union, has decided to endorse Eric Adams. I'm really not averse to that, but me personally, I was torn between McGuire and Eric Adams. The only difference is, like, I wish these two would get together and work, because McGuire is more like a proactive stance to things. Like, he wants to fix things from the root of the problem, not, respond to it after it happens. So he wants to, he's big on education, and I'm definitely big on education, especially when it comes down to children. Because the more educated your children are, the least likely they'll grow up to be homeless, least likely they are to grow up to be criminals. But, everyone else wants to treat the problem, and then they want to wonder why it's not working, or we continue to have these same issues. Because there's definitely some disparities amongst the school districts. It shouldn't be a case where you want to pick and choose which district you're going to. If we're all in New York City, every district should be receiving funding equally. It should not be, because you live in Harlem or you live in Brownsville, you have a poor school district. But if you go to District 2, they have abundance of computers and tutors and all these things that they're, afforded to them. It should not be that way. So McGuire he actually has some good things. You could check all these people out yourself. Like I said, the union endorsed Eric Adams. Like I said, I don't have a problem with that. The thing that was most notable to me about Adams was that he wants to, because I asked, he wants to have this program where it's like you do 2 years of service in like one of your like a peace officer or something, like school safety or whatever, and then you can kind of like transition into being a NYPD. Because I think one of the major issues with the NYPD and public relations is the fact that we have people policing our neighborhoods and don't know the people or the culture or the community. So you have people from Long Island coming to predominantly black and brown neighborhoods, and they're scared, or they think our children are adults, or they take our animation for aggression when it's not that. So I think it's better that they incentivize people policing their own neighborhoods or wanting to join the police force as is. They need to change the whole culture as well. We need to just change how we look at policing, period. Like in my neighborhood growing up, being a police officer was not something to be proud of. People actually hide the fact that they're police officers. The honor need to be brought back to that title, similar to what our jobs. The honor needs to be brought back to our jobs, where we're proud to be operators and track workers and CTAs and whatever other title. Like, I think that's something that, there's an issue in the community with bringing honor back to the job. Other than that, I mean, unless you guys want me to give you my personal opinion on the other candidates, I wasn't too thrilled with Yang. He did not answer any questions directly. He was definitely a politician. Maya Wiley, I wasn't really impressed by her. I hate to say it. She has a really good background. She's an activist and a lawyer. But for Maya, I'm not really impressed. Diane Morales actually came out to the cleaners rally. So I got a chance to meet her briefly there. I like her, but I mean, I like her. Sean Donovan, he name dropped Obama a lot, which kind of put me off. Like, and he, don't get me wrong, he has the connections, but his background and his wife's background in like development and stuff like that kind of makes me feel like he's not really for the workers. Catherine Garcia, she used to be the former commissioner for sanitation. I actually did like her. She seemed very stern. She seemed about her business. She was the interim chair and CEO of NYCHA as well. And right now she's the food czar for New York Emergency Food Program. Well, during the pandemic. Well, we're still in the pandemic, so I'm guessing she's still the czar. But Scott Stringer, that's a good candidate, but I don't know if you guys are aware he has like a little scandal going on. So, but outside of that, my top three would be Adams, McGuire, and Stringer outside of the scandal. But yeah, so that was basically it. Wait, hold on. Well, Sean Donovan, he actually did mention something I did like, which was equity bonds. Is like, from the time that your child is born, they start putting some money aside for them to, I guess when whatever they decide to do once they hit 18, like far as like if they want to go to college or something like that. So he said by the time they hit adulthood, they'll have $50,000. So it's like, it's a fund being put aside. I think that's actually a good idea. He paralleled that to was it Cory Booker's baby bonds? Some baby bonds? Correct me if you're aware. No, some people are not really into politics like that, but you have to be. If you care about your money, you will be about politics. If you care about your city, your neighborhood, how cleanly your streets are, crime, you should at least get involved with some type of politics, or at least educate yourself. But other than that, that's pretty much the end of the e-board report. I encourage everyone to call the union and ensure that they have your proper address. If you're not aware, and I don't know how you're not aware, you could be under a rock or a track or something like that. This is an election year. Very, very, very important. Make sure the union has your proper address. Do not use the fact that you're receiving magazines as thinking that they have your address. It's two different mailing services. For the ballots, they use what they have on file. For the propaganda, they use the post office. So just make sure that they have your proper address. Make sure your dues are paid up. Like sometimes when you go out on comp or whatever, or if you have some type of issue, you might have skipped a month and you weren't aware. So check with the Treasury Department to make sure you guys are up on your dues, and also make sure that they have your proper address. Other than that, I can't really think of anything. Yeah. But any questions? I don't see any questions. But that was the e-board report for April. Let me see. I covered everything. So yeah, but that was, we were there from 9 to 5. It was mostly just talking to the mayoral candidates. But other than that, But oh, I do have something to say though. If you notice, the union is getting more active. Like I told you, it's an election year. So the union, that's another thing. Union administration, let's say that the union administration, because we're the union, even though they try to convince you that they're the union and we're just the members, the union administration is getting extremely more active. However, I need you guys to remember, we have lost. Don't mistake my smile for like, listen, we have lost 160 people at least. Don't forget who was in charge when that happened. Don't forget who allowed that shit to happen. Excuse my language, but don't forget who allowed that to happen, because they're under the impression that we forget, that we have short term, like we have really short memories. I need to know, and I need you all to remember what happened last year. What's happening still. We're still dying out here. So just keep that in mind. Don't get swayed by all the photo ops and stuff like that, and them going out and doing this and doing that and taking pictures and shaking hands and all that. Remember who kept you safe and who didn't. Let's just say that. But I'm gonna end this right here. I don't want it to go too long. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm gonna try to do the same. I will do the same. Until next time, Kimberly McLaurin, Nuke, Progressive Action Shop Steward, Executive Board Member. Any questions, DM me or DM anyone on the team. All right, have a good evening.